Hey everybody, welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Becky, and joining me for this episode are all these people. We have Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, Becky.
And Amanda. Hey, Amanda.
Hi.
And Leah's here. Hello, Leah.
Hi, everybody.
And coming off of her bowling championship season is Lindsey for the next couple weeks. Hi, Lindsey.
Hi.
So how's everyone? Good? Good week? I don't know.
It's been a long fucking week and it's only Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday. If you're watching on YouTube, is your chat showing up?
I'm not watching on YouTube.
Okay.
Because I'm a loser like that.
I
Sorry.
see it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mine's not showing up. It's fine.
I'll wave.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. So tonight, Sunday. It's Wednesday.
Been a really long week and it's only Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
It's still Wednesday.
So for tonight's Sip and Discuss episode, we are talking about The Sweet Spot by Bella Matthews. I legit was reading this up until an hour ago.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I do that regularly with these books, just saying.
Well, I will say
up until an hour ago.
this book reads really fast, in case anyone is wondering.
I would have been finishing it today if I hadn't read this like 3 weeks ago.
There we go. Okay, who has their doc open and wants to read? Leah, tell us all the things we need to know.
Okay, so the release date on this is June 20th, 2024. The tropes are instant connection, after sports, close proximity, family saga, next gen, marriage of convenience, and kind of secret relationship. It is part of the Play to Win series, and it is a series of standalones. It is dual first person point of view, and the put out percentage is 27%. As of right now, there is not an audiobook, but there will be eventually because Bella Matthews puts everything into audio fairly quickly after release. And it is found in Kindle Unlimited. There are some content trigger warnings to deal with. So there is medical discussion of fatal genetic disorder and the death of parents. So if those are something that you need.
Yeah, I actually asked Mike. I was like, do we need a content warning discussion of genetic disorders?
I think possibly if you have genetic disorders.
Yeah, I think it depends on your, for my personal standpoint, since I have a kid with a genetic disorder, I'm like, well, yeah, we all got some messed up genes, but
And it's kind of like chronic illness. Oh, what's new this week? I mean,
right.
I said to somebody today, I think my book chat is slowly turning into medical chat.
It was a little medical chat today.
Because we all got something going on, right?
Right.
We do.
But I think it was Leah said, this is our safe space, and this is where we need to be able to tell you that, we got stuff going on.
Well, I mean, who else are we going to tell?
Right. Nobody else wants to listen
to
to
us.
Best,
this is the bestie, bundle of chaos.
It is the bestie bundle of chaos. So yeah, I put a content warning for the genetic disorder. And we'll get to that because, again, remember, guys, these episodes are spoilerish. We are going to talk about all the things in this book. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to pause it and then come back once you've read it. Okay, so, well, since we started with it, let's talk about the genetic disorder and how it is the potential of Huntington's disease. Yes. Which it was really funny because Leah and I were talking this morning and I said, I'm not sure, because I was still in the beginning. I'm like, I'm not sure what disease she has. And she's like, oh, it's Huntington's. And I'm like, okay, which one of her parents has it? Because it's 50-50.
Right.
Like it's a 50-50 chance. If one of your parents has it, you're going to get it.
Yeah, you just need the one gene.
Yeah.
So that brought up that in this situation, that she is actually adopted by her mother.
Yeah.
And the mom and dad's book, they have a book, right? Because this is a next gen.
They have a book, yes. So their book is...
It's like Caged or something like that?
I don't think... Maybe. It might be Caged.
Okay.
Lindsey, Amanda, have you read her before? Or are we all
No,
No,
this
Rich.
was my first Bella Matthews
I was
book.
It
just
is
gonna
not
ask that.
caged.
It is
Yeah.
You would
caged.
think it was, no, it's not. You would think it is because he's an MMA fighter, but it's
His
not.
name's Cage, isn't it?
His Cade. He is
Cade.
Cade.
Cade. Oh, okay.
Okay,
There's a lot of people.
so was this your
in these
first Bella Matthews other than me and Leah? Because I did a quick shot with somebody on
Broken King was Scarlet and Cade's book.
it. Okay.
I think I've read one of her books before, maybe multiple, because the writing style seems similar.
Mhm.
And it seemed like it's very much a Natasha Madison style form of writing with big giant families, everyone's interconnected. Possibly read it at the same time I was reading like Kelly Jameson, which is also a similar, like the Wynn family is kind of similar in structure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't remember it. I mean, it was familiar, but it wasn't like fresh.
Mhm.
And it's been if I have read her, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah. I think I get kind of bogged down with her a little bit because I feel like she is trying to make small town pro sports.
Okay, but so like by having this huge family, she's created a
Well,
town-esque feel.
but Becky also like the way that like they live in the like Croydon Hills and it's like this suburban like rich
A
area.
fancy suburb.
It's the fancy suburb, but so she gives it this small town like kitsch to it almost, but it's not small town at all because it's a burb in Philly.
Right.
Yeah, it's just it's odd, you know, everything seems to be 20 minutes away. And I don't know, I just get a little caught up in that.
Well, it's not that everything was even 20 minutes away. It's that like she skips so fast from place to place. Like all of a sudden, like there's a break in the scene and she's somewhere else, there's somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like she'll be in her apartment and then next thing you know, like she'll be waking up at the lake. I mean, not exactly, but like there's
Yes.
big cuts in the
Yeah.
scene. Like
Yeah.
the chapters, like
Sometimes her transitions are really jarring.
they are jarring, but it's also the stories are very fast paced. Like this is a very fast paced story. There was a lot that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It moved quick, but you don't really like, even though there are sensitive topics in it, like her Huntington's disease, and like it's alluded to, it's kind of, I mean, ultimately kind of glossed over.
Okay, so
Like nothing's getting.
yeah. I have to ask Amanda this because I was curious how you felt about this because this is kind of instant connection-ish.
Yeah, I like instant connection.
Okay,
Like,
but
I
these
have no
people were
problem with it.
horny.
Yeah,
They were.
There was so much
Yeah.
horniness in this book. You
Yeah, but they knew each other when they were younger.
Yeah,
so
I
like,
mean,
they
there
were
was
they
already-
were horny for each other when they were younger, but there was an age
But they just
gap.
keep going. And
They do once they have once they pop the seal, like they just don't stop.
So Amanda,
read
did the amount of
that one.
horniness, Amanda, did that bug you a little bit? The amount of horniness.
I don't know that it really bugged me. I think because it was a fast read. So I was just flipping through it to
Yeah.
get to like, the next part. And like I read it Monday. I read it in one sitting. So I think if this book had been longer or if there had been more going on top of all the horniness, I probably would have been like, okay, I'm over this.
Well, it was less
it was
than
fine.
300 pages, so I mean that's something to think about. Like it is a shorter book.
Man, that's like
Yeah.
Okay,
but a
also,
good portion of it is the horniness.
There's a lot of bad.
Lindsay, how did you feel that there are no chapter numbers? That it's just their names and there's not really chapters?
I don't know, but I did like Brenly's little breaks. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to that. I thought with the writing style, I think that made more sense than having chapter numbers.
But if
And
you
it
look in the
also
table of
made-
contents, they are numbered. She just
Well-
doesn't use it as a heading in her formatting.
And if you
Just-
were reading the
just saying.
paperback, you'd be confused about where those numbers are supposed to align with pages, probably. But I loved Brinley's chapter headings, and I did write one because she has like internal thoughts at each one.
But they're
I
not
love
on
it.
every chapter that is her.
No, No, but they are cute. Like one of
They
them,
are. They're
Cassie,
really
women
good.
who don't have one
Some
night.
of them.
That was an audition. You either made the cut or didn't.
I don't like the inconsistency of that part of it. Like if you're gonna have it, you have to do it at every chapter.
What
If you're
bugged
not
you
going
about
to,
the
then
internal
don't.
thoughts, Amanda? Because they bugged the fuck out
You
of
know
me.
what?
There were a couple of them that were like kind of cute, but other than that, I was like, this is stupid. I don't like.
They didn't necessarily have anything
it
to
didn't
do.
connect to anything necessarily inside the chapter. Like it was just a random thought. I mean, and like I said, sometimes they were cute, but for the most part, I was like, I
But
don't need this.
but
Was
again,
it
I
the
think
lemonade one?
I love
Yes.
the lemonade one.
but again, I
And
think
like
if it had
these
been at
lemonade,
every single,
trade them for coffee beans.
I think if it was on every single one, it wouldn't have been as like frustrating because it would have been like a consistent thing throughout the book. Because Lonnie Lynn Vale like does that in every single one of her books. She has like random things that are chapter headings. Like it's either like thoughts of myself, a text from one person to the other person, like a coffee mug saying, a t-shirt saying, like, and it doesn't delve with anything in that chapter, but it's so consistent that it's like you almost look forward to what kind of chaos is this chapter going to start with in the heading.
Hot take. I loved the chaos. I don't know that Bella Matthews is going to be like she's not going to be a favorite author for me, but I did enjoy reading this book.
Yeah.
Just because like she
I think she also forgot about the dog
has
for a
a
while.
writing style.
Everybody forgets about the
The dog
dogs.
is just,
I'm like, because she's spending
she's
the
the best
night,
behaved puppy ever.
and like the dog's not coming the night. Like that
So
first night
there
he's
is one
back.
reviewer that I follow, one bookstagrammer I follow. Every single time there's the dog, she's like, "What about the dog, people? The dog needs to eat. The dog needs to go out. What happened to the dog?" She's like, "Stop writing pets in books if you're not going to remember them."
It was
Okay, it's a Tamagotchi. Like
Oh,
Oh my
I never had one
always
of
forget
those.
about it. It's really cute to add in theoretically. Like everybody wanted one, and then you forgot to feed it, and it
I
died.
always wanted
Start
one of those,
over.
and I never got one.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
my
God.
little
I-
teen heart was a little bit broken there.
I
Yeah,
always
but
change
see,
the
the problem
time.
is you don't have to feed your
So you
Tamagotchi.
didn't have to feed the Tamagotchi.
Yeah, like you make it so it's like
Nice.
you
Oh my
change
God.
AM and PM, so while you're at school, it's sleeping.
Oh my God, you guys are insane. Okay, let's go back and talk about the characters. Let's talk about our hero, Deacon Kane. Amanda, what are your thoughts on Deacon?
I actually really liked him. And I wasn't quite sure because like I get annoyed when I get dropped in the middle of a series, and I feel like this was a huge like family for me to get dropped in the middle of, which is fine.
You're
But,
welcome.
I was just like, okay. I was like, like I felt like I needed more background or whatever. But I don't know that he would have had any, but I thought he kind of like seamlessly fit in. I don't know. I liked him. I thought he was pretty big swoony. Like he got mad at her, but then he like gave her forehead kisses like immediately after, and I was like, okay. I was like, I'm glad he got mad, but then I'm glad he got over it. So,
Mhm.
and I liked how he was with his daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have any problem with it. Like I said, this is just like an easy.
I
Can I
kind
say
of wanted
something?
more, just a second. I kind of wanted more about the daughter. Like it's alluded to, and I think that this
Yeah.
is the danger. I don't want 400-page books. But if you're going to cram a lot into under 300 pages, then you got to make it a little easier to navigate. And I think that you can have a dog, you can have a genetic disorder and a child, but you can't have that all in under 300 pages. You
Mhm.
got to give us plus this epic family saga that you're throwing 75 people at us. Take them
Yeah.
away on vacation or something.
Yeah,
So
and
the
then his
family's
daughter had anxiety on top of it. So
Right.
it was like there was
Yeah.
a whole, there was a lot going on.
But I will say this was a single parent book where it was not a nanny and the ex-wife was not trash. They had a
Yeah.
really good co-parenting relationship. Like there were a couple moments, but like what co-parents perfectly all the time. Like I really enjoyed the fact that she went that direction. Like they had a good relationship. Like they like dealt with everything very like adult like yes, they got mad at each other. Yes, they had some hang-ups, but like it wasn't a nanny, which I really enjoyed.
But at the same time, like there wasn't really substantial conflict. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was very much an insta love and insta married. Like nothing solidified their HEA for me. Like nothing made me feel like really secure. Like they just decided to be together. They have navigated some
Literally.
challenges, but because it was like
It was
because
almost
of
too
how they
easy.
glossed over everything, the read felt easy. It was really quick paced, and I was not satisfied. I wanted to throw the book at the wall.
Lindsay, is this going on our list for our episode of couples who we don't think stay together after the last page?
Heck yeah.
Amanda's
I
like, oh
don't,
God.
no, it's not true because I do think they stay together. I do think they stay together. I just don't feel like they're happily like
You just needed more.
be a romance book. This could have been, they could have been background characters, and like I'm more interested in what was going on with Grace and Aries.
And
Well,
see, I
yeah,
need Rip.
That's intriguing.
I want Rip. I want a book for Rip, the best
Yeah, I
friend.
love that. I mean, but that's the thing. Like these other characters, like
Well,
they,
Grace and Aries do have a book. They're the previous book.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna move
Does
that.
Maddox have one or not yet?
Not yet. He's
Okay.
going to be in the next series.
I've read
Okay.
his mom and dad's book. We did a quick shot. Heather and I did a quick shot of the mom and dad's book.
For Maddox.
And it's not, so I think it's actually is your kind of mafia, Amanda.
Oh yeah, I would totally go back and read other books in the series because these are like those Aurora Rose Reynolds ones where I can read them like back
Yes.
to back to back to back.
Right. Really
So-
fast. Like they're really fun reads. Like I didn't dislike the book. I just like my happily ever after.
A
To
little
not
more
be so
solid.
horny.
It's more of like watching a TV show and they're like each book is an episode
Yes.
where focuses on one like couple, family, whatever, and then so to get the whole
Yeah.
picture, you gotta
Yeah,
it
and
together.
it is more like saga-ish, like in like the trope list. Like it definitely is because I've read all of the books in this series so far. I mean, there's only these four, but like I read all of them, and like one of them, I no joke skipped like a chunk of it because I just was not like feeling the book, but I really need to get to the end. But it is one of those things like this could be like a really good serial like TV show where it's like you get 45 minutes of this couple and this couple, and there's so much like interaction with the family and all that stuff that like you want to read more to see like where these
Yeah.
other people are going.
I also think that this is one of those where, so if we look as Bella Matthews came onto the scene, it was at the same time kind of Elsie Silver's coming on the scene, right?
Mhm.
And I will say, I think we had a better story as far as characters and plot points and beats of the story from Bella Matthews than we have from Elsie Silver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one thing. Like Bella Matthews doesn't leave, like this book didn't leave anything unsatisfied. Like one of my biggest complaints with Elsie Silver is that like her plot line's like this, and then she'll spur out as the book goes, and she'll leave the spurs unresolved, or she'll add a spur that's so completely at odds with the characters. I don't feel like we got any of that with Bella Matthews. I definitely agree that the story is solid. I just felt like it's, we've talked about it a lot. Like there's no third act breakup. There's no, like, they do have these things they're up against, these challenges they're up against, and they do communicate together, but there's no like,
Culmination of like chaos.
there's literally no rocky waters for them to navigate. Like they are
Mhm.
just so committed. Like they go from attraction to messing around to like fully committed to each other and married so
Mhm.
quickly that like that's not how relationships work. Like you don't just have like,
And
I
this
don't
is
know.
this is marriage at convenience. Amanda, do you feel that the marriage kind of came out of left field? Because I know you like a marriage at convenience or a fake relationship.
This one was, it was kind of like I didn't really like the reason they got married didn't seem like a valid
Mhm.
reason
Right.
for them to just up and get married. It made a little more sense to me, like the kind of probably the chaos going on in her brain because she's waiting to find out, if she has this disease or whatever. So I don't know if this was like, it almost felt like a unconscious, like last ditch effort for her to like get married. It's kind of how I
Mhm.
looked at it after I found out something was wrong with her. But the reason for, his daughter not having to go to Japan. Like, you don't need to get married for that. Like, she could have come and lived with him, like, to watch his
Which
daughter.
that was
They
the
didn't need to be
original
married.
plan anyway. Like he wasn't going
Yeah.
to be married.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I read the blurb, I thought it was going to be like to get custody,
Same.
he
Mhm.
needed to be married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't feel, and I don't read blurbs. We all know how I feel about those. Do you feel that this blurb made the book sound like it's different than it actually was? Like the blurb did not line up to the beats of the story.
Just
I think
on
it
that.
inferred it. Yeah, it inferred it, but it didn't exactly tell you
It was
why. I
just
think I
really
just
that.
assumed.
It was
I
just
guess.
that aspect of it that is a little more muddied. But overall, I feel like the blurb was fairly like accurate.
Okay. One of the things about the blurb that I'm really hating right now that we're seeing is like at the top of the blurb now, it'll say number 5 in the Amazon store.
I hate that.
I don't care.
You know what I hate? I hate not the blurb at all, but I hate the new trope list that they put out that tells you literally everything that's going to happen in the book. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
there needs to be a
Okay.
limit.
like,
I
I'm
mean-
not going to read your book anymore because I just read one of those and I wound up really liking the book. But all of the things that happen, nothing was a surprise. And it just, the intrigue that I usually get from romance, like that trend is just crushing it.
Mhm.
That's part of the reason that I don't ever read blurbs anymore. And really, if you just tell me, hey, one blurb thing, like if you're handing me a book and say, Becky, this is Friends to Lovers, I'm not going to read it, right?
Yeah.
But if you hand me a book and say, hey, this is an age gap, I'm going to read it. I don't need to know anything else about it as long as they
and
bang.
like the over troping of books is like out of control anyway. It's like people like are finding this
Well,
the
and they're
smallest
listing
minutia.
microtropes.
Yeah.
Like they're microtroping the shit out of
Yeah.
everything. It's like you do not need to give me 15 tropes for one
Yeah.
book.
He wears
One,
And not
lipstick.
everything
you
is a
need to
microtrope.
not, but
Yeah.
also you need to not write a book that has 15 tropes in it, friends, because
Also-
nobody needs that. It's chaos.
Character traits are also not a trope. Like the
Exactly.
big thing that we've seen lately is like she's addicted to caffeine, and it's like that's not a trope. Like shut up.
I mean, that's 90% of
I'm
the
not
US
gonna read your book if
population.
you
So.
put that kind of garbage
I
in there.
mean, are we talking about
Anyway.
self-medicating our ADHD? I mean,
I mean, who's not addicted to caffeine in this little square right here?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm
None
like,
of us.
hello, this is everyone. Like, it's not an whatever.
yeah.
Okay, circling back to the book.
Okay.
I did like the relationship, like Brinley was not this like simpering idiot, which I enjoyed. Like she was a strong character. She quits her job because she gets mad at her mom because her mom like made choices for her. And she's like, well, you made these choices. Okay, then I am done. I will go do something else.
Well, and there's a level of privilege there.
There is a
Yeah.
level
Yeah.
of privilege there.
And she does address it. I do think she addresses that she knows
Yes.
that quitting this prestigious job that she knows she can take and go to her
Yes.
father's gym. But this book takes place, like, they're separated for a month where they do all the text exchanging.
Mhm.
2 weeks.
And then it's only 2 weeks that they're apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause he goes to
he just
Boston
went
for
home
2
to
weeks to
pack.
wrap things up.
So from start to finish, does this book cover 30 days?
It's like
It's
2
like
months.
2 months, I think. It might be 90 days
It's
total.
2 months because when the book starts, like they've been together like a week when he finds out. Well, they're not really even together at that point. They've just agreed to see each other again when he finds out that
But that was
his
just the
wife
next
is gonna have to
night.
leave to move to Japan in 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's just
So it's
like
like-
the next night. You're right.
That's just the next
Yeah,
day.
so it takes place like over 6 weeks max.
Yeah, I don't even think it's 6 weeks. I think it is 30
Yeah.
days. I feel like it's by week 3, she's like, let's get married. Like, he's in town for 1 day.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
just-
yeah, he just got back, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
because the couch was the night before, like when he had just gotten back, and then
Oh,
she
and
goes to his
everybody's
house.
walking in on them in the couch.
Yeah,
also,
that was their own
I don't
fault.
know.
I mean,
So-
seriously,
yeah.
if you're
So
gonna
did
have
the
sex on
pacing of that,
couch-
go ahead, Amanda, what you're going to say.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with the couch. It was their own fault for getting caught on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, where's the dog? Like,
Didn't the sister or one of the cousins have the dog at that point?
No, I
But
think
not when she was still at her place. But anyway,
Spends half her time at the condo, and she's in a condo. If you are gonna take a dog outside at a condo, you have to, whatever.
You have to go outside.
The thing is, I really think I would have liked this book and been okay with like glossing over some of these issues because it's a very like mac and cheese, like not really even mac and cheese, like just a very light, speedy read.
It kind of is a mac and cheese though, because
it's
like
like
you
a
know what
ramen.
it's like a
Ramen.
ramen or like one of those popsicles that's in like the plastic sleeve, like no
Oh, yeah,
effort.
the,
Twin
like,
Pop?
squeeze thing.
It's like boxed mac
The
and
Otter
cheese.
Pops.
Like
The
Otter
Otter
Pops, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like gourmet homemade from scratch.
Ooh, I
There's
made some
no
of that the
Gouda
other
in this
day.
book.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want
It's the powdered craft.
Gouda. I want
It's
the
not even the
Gouda.
Velveeta
Not even
shells.
the squeezy Velveeta, it's the powdered.
But I think I wouldn't have had any issues. Like I'm gonna read Grace and Aries book next, but I don't think I would have had a single issue with this book if
Had
it
it not been.
fast paced. Like
Yeah.
I do not do insta love. Like
I love Insta Love, and
I do too.
but as I'm reading this, I just kept going, holy shit, these people are so horny. And I really thought that I would hear from Jenny and Amanda, like, could these people stop banging and give me some meat and potatoes to the story?
But there was a lot of banging, but
book,
there was
I
still story. Like it's not like there was just banging.
No, but there is a good
that much
portion of banging.
I'm
Was-
reading a lot of like long fantasy books right now, so it was a nice respite for me. So that's probably why I had no problem with
And
it.
there's not a lot of banging in those.
See,
I
and
only remember 4 scenes plus the phone exchanges.
okay, so they bang the first night in the lake.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was impressive.
But
And
it's
the-
almost like every
apparent-
interaction they have.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
like,
not
they're like,
impressive,
"Hmm."
Leah. Like we just watched the Olympics. All I could think about was bacteria and the places the bacteria would go.
Yeah, but they're not in the same.
Yeah, they're
It
in
is not the
okay.
French
still in a
River.
lake outside of Philly. It's an
I don't even like to
industrial
go in
hotbed.
lakes because they're yucky. Like I don't like to put my feet in lakes because they're gross. So I would definitely not be banging in a lake. That's just me.
Okay.
I want to not do that.
But they're also like banging like all night long, multiple times. And I'm like, you are
Get
adults
over
that
it.
have responsibilities. Like,
Yeah, like the day
Yeah.
before he has to go sign his contract, like with
Right?
her mom and her uncle. Yeah.
Well, and I did find it funny that she always seems to get out of bed without him noticing it.
right?
Oh
Like-
yeah.
She's never in bed when he rolls over. Okay.
I can't
The
really
morning
say
person,
anything
they
because
established that pretty early in the book, I thought.
I wake up alone every day and I never notice when my husband gets out of bed.
Oh, I notice. I just am glad he's gone and I have
I
leg
don't-
room again.
I sleep right through it. Like his alarm goes off, he gets up and gets ready for work, and I notice none of it.
Well, must be
So
nice for
that
you.
is realistic in my world.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
same
back
here.
to the book. Let's talk about Brenly as a character because we talked about Deacon. So the other thing that I thought was interesting was her name is used a lot in this book, right? Like we get Brinley constantly.
Yeah.
I had to go searching to figure out his name. I know they're the chapter headings,
Here, let's
but
see
I
how
had to
many
go
times.
look because for whatever reason, nobody says his name. Like we get a
No.
couple coaches here and there, but his
Like,
name was not Coach.
Okay, so
Oh,
according
Coach and Kane.
so Deacon,
Yeah.
including chapter headings, is used 319 times in the book.
Okay. I just don't feel like it was used a lot.
Well, hold
Right.
on. Oh, wait.
Just
Did she
search
spell Brinley differently? Because it says one.
Just do
That's
Brynn.
Yeah.
Oh, there's only one N. That's why it didn't come up.
Oh,
So
there you go.
Oh, I spelled it
Sorry.
wrong in my notes.
I would have spelled it wrong too. So Brinley was used 215 times.
But that's only
Yeah,
one
there-
alliteration of the name.
Bryn
That's gonna
Bryn or
include
Brinny
Brinley.
was used 169 times. So
Yeah.
400 and some and 116 or no 300.
A lot.
A lot. I just felt like her
I mean,
name
and that
was
is
used a
chapter
lot and
headings, too.
his name I don't feel like his name was used as much.
It definitely wasn't. But
Yeah, I mean,
also,
you
like,
got a
why
couple
didn't
of
we need?
coaches, and then you got Kane too, which they were calling him
That's true, because a
Kane.
lot of people refer to him as last name. But we didn't need to know, like, why do we have three like intonations of her name?
Yeah, you know
Like,
how I feel about that.
I do know how you feel about that.
What was your thought on the daughter's nickname being Kit Kat? Like, it just felt weird.
I don't
I
know
was like,
why.
where did that nope.
Amanda's our nickname aficionado. What was your evaluation of the nickname?
It didn't bother me that much at that point. I mean, it was another way for her to connect with her, so that one didn't really bother me. I have more problems with main character nicknames
I
than,
just didn't understand where she got Kit Kat from Kennedy.
yeah, it seemed kind of random,
Kennedy
but I was like, yeah,
Kane.
it's just another way.
I think that I got the impression Kennedy picked it. I don't know. Like they gloss over that. It's like all of a sudden, like Kennedy's really upset about the situation, overwhelmed, like her anxiety is flaring. The next morning she wakes up and everything's freaking perfect. Like, no, like this is why I had a problem with the book. It was too fast paced. All the issues and potential conflict was just glossed over. It was too easy and it's not real. That's not real. There's no happily ever after here because they didn't actually solve anything. They put band-aids on it.
Well,
This kid didn't behave like a real kid.
and
Right.
I don't have a genetic disorder, and my son's disorder is not genetic. So I don't know how you would feel about potentially having a genetic disorder and getting tested, but I felt like there should have been some more. Wouldn't you be pissed if you married somebody and the next thing you know, she's telling you there's a 50% chance that she could die in the next 10 years?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So my issue with that is major because one, like the book is written in a way where she's denying this and ignoring it and trying to like put this as far out of her mind as possible for the first 80% of the book, 75% of the book. And then she makes the decision to get married.
No, she does try to tell him.
She's
She's interrupted.
She gets married without trying to have that conversation. And when you're getting married, you think about the impact to the child. So she was perfectly okay being this child's caretaker, marrying him, and neither of them knowing that she's potentially going to die in 10 years. Not just potentially going to die, but that she's a potential ticking time bomb for a disease that will give her a very excruciating death.
Mm-hmm.
That's majorly impacting to both of them. It's very selfish. I do think it's indicative of her age because she's like not even 20. I think she's like 24.
No, she's older than that. I think she's 27.
I think so.
Yeah, because she's out of college and has been working for a while.
It's based on how
I think
old
that
she was in the
he's
summer.
27. I think
it's
she's 27.
No, he's
because she makes
34.
the joke.
He's
Wait,
30.
what?
He was 34 and she was 27 because he talks about how
There's a joke that she made in the book where she specifically said, I might be dead by the time I'm 25.
Oh, I don't remember that joke.
I thought she didn't.
I do remember that, and I think that was a mess up because I think she is like 27.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I think it
she's
was
24.
She is 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in the family tree at the front of the book.
Because they talk about how old she was the last time they saw each other. She was 14 and he was 19. So
so there's some mess up there.
So they made him a 29-year-old hockey coach?
Yeah, he's the youngest coach in the league. So he is very young. There are players on the team that are older than him. They do talk about that a little bit. They gloss over it a little bit.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have nitpicked.
Okay, things are not mathing anymore for me.
So when he joined the league, he only played for a year, and then he got the opportunity to
They don't actually give his age.
To coach. He lived in Boston, became the head coach for Boston University, and he did such a good job that they were giving him a professional opportunity. So at 29, he's getting his first professional opportunity. That's his timeline. That's his story.
Okay,
But
well,
they don't actually say his name because I'm searching 20 and his there's no 20 for him.
You have
and then
to
I
do
searched 30.
There was
Huh?
nothing in there that really indicated his age.
No,
Yeah.
like I did the math from when they talk about the last time they were together when they re-met again in the bar.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying that they never specify his age. They just kind
Which,
of leave it like you have to math
again, it's
yourself.
kind of like the hair from the Megan Quinn book. Like,
Well,
do we
okay,
know a
there's a
hair
part
color?
where
But
she was
that's a
like
totally different
13 and
person.
he was
Yeah.
16 or 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
So yeah, so
that'd
then
be
if she's
4
24, then
years.
he's 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, any final thoughts that we need to talk about from this book before we start like nitpicking 300 pages?
Right.
Anything else anybody has to
No.
say?
I do. I do have a little bit more to say. I'm just chatty. This is a perfect example of an indie romance. Like, you don't always know what you're gonna get, and it really depends on like the editor and the author's writing style, whether or not you like it. I do think that this is also why a lot of people are having bad opinions of romance. And I would just like to say that, like, if you read a book, whether or not you like it, or whether or not it's good writing, the only thing that matters is if you enjoyed it. And it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if we enjoyed it, it just matters if you did. That's it.
That's it.
But she's really popular right now. Like, Bella Matthews is really popular. A lot of people
Mhm.
love her. And
Well,
I'm
she started as a blogger. And so her following started with her. She curated a following and then switched from blogger to author.
Mhm.
So I
That's smart.
think that that is some of her popularity are people that were friendly with her previous to her becoming an author. And she does use an editor. I just went and looked. She did use an editor and she does have a proofreader. So
I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying, like, the editing you get with indie romance varies substantially
It
based on
does.
the editor. And like, I can go back through and read an indie author's romance and pin, like, without looking at the editor, pinpoint exactly when their editorial changes, because they do have a big impact on the overall writing style.
yeah.
And I do think that plays a part in the pacing of the story. That and just the
Mhm.
writing. I'm interested to see how her other books are, though.
It's all similar.
I will say it had like very much like Helena Hunting kind of vibes, like with the family. It had Kelly Jamison kind of vibes. It
See,
had
to me, it's just like this is absolutely a book of vibes over substance. Like she starts to skim the surface. We just didn't dig into the emotions.
it very
Yeah.
much takes the surface. It moves at such a fast pace.
And they bang a lot. They bang.
Or
Like, hey, let's not have a discussion. We're just going to bang.
I mean, let's avoid and bang.
Let's avoid and bang. Okay. So let's do our thumbs up, thumbs down, and then we have book suggestions. If you liked this book, some books we think you should check out. Jenny, thumbs up, thumbs down?
I would say Sideways.
Sideways.
I mean, yeah, I'm up to trying her again, but it wasn't my favorite. It definitely moved really quickly, and I just wanted more in-depth
Yeah.
plot.
Mhm.
Not-
Amanda, thumbs up, thumbs
depth.
down?
I'll say Sideways too, only because this was my first book by her. If I had read some of the previous books, I probably would have been fine with it. Because I think this is one of those that I could just skim through when I'm looking for a fast read. So I'll say thumbs sideways until I read another one.
Okay. Leah, thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'm a thumb sideways too. Like she's an author that like I'll read again. Like she's an easy read. Sometimes I just need that level. But yeah.
Lindsay, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways.
Some sideways. Like, I'm definitely gonna read her again, but this was not my favorite.
Yeah, and I'm thumb sideways too. Like this is a solid 3-star, but there's nothing in
Mhm.
here that I'm like, ooh, desperate to go back. There are characters that intrigue me. There's stories I'd like to read, but none of them are going to be like must read, get back to type books and series. So
And can we just circle back to the bang one more time? Like, we talked
Sure.
about there's a lot of banging. That moved at the same pace as the rest of the story. It's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like 5 pages of banging on top of like the story. Like there was only a couple pages of banging and then it just kept going.
Also, yes, Stacey, this is our first all sideways. All of us were kind of like, meh. Like,
Yeah,
not
This is
great,
my
not the
first sideways
worst.
at all.
Like
There's
there
a
were
lot
some good
about
parts to it, but there were some not so great parts to it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
much to talk about though.
If people
Mhm.
liked this book, or what books do you think people should read if they want similar vibes? I hate that freaking word. To this book.
We should thesaurus it and pick a new word.
Pick a new word.
So Maria Lewis's Boston Blades hockey series would be a good one, or Julia Connor's Boston Rebels hockey series. No,
No.
Well, her other,
no,
I
it's not
like
that.
her
No,
the
that's
second
not the
book in
one.
the
It's the other
older
one.
series.
Yeah, I read
Frozen
book
Hearts.
one. I read
The
book
Frozen
one.
Hearts one, not this. I didn't do the Boston Rebels series.
Okay.
I
Frozen
was thinking
Hearts.
the other one, but I couldn't
I
find
did
the
book
book.
one and I wanted to push
That was
everybody
the
down
Secret
the
Baby
stairs.
one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's the season that spun the Boston Rebels off
The last
that
book
I
in that
liked.
series.
Yeah,
or the
Frozen.
second book.
The second
Yes.
book.
The
is the one
second
I
book
had
or the
down.
last book are the only ones
Yeah.
in that series worth reading.
Yes. You knew what I meant.
I didn't. I was very concerned that you were recommending the hockey series, and I'm like,
No,
those people were too stupid to live. Like,
no, not that one. It was the one before that. It was her brother, his
yes.
book.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that one.
I couldn't remember the name. It was the first book that popped up when I Googled her.
Jenny, do you have any books?
I do not. I finished this book like just
Fair.
2 hours
Same.
ago.
Same.
Yeah.
Amanda, do you have any that you think people would like if they liked this?
I think that Always Her Love by Melissa Foster, which is Levi and Tara. I think because, she had a crush on him when she was younger. You get those vibes, the single dad vibes.
Yeah.
But I think that one just has a lot more depth. It has a lot more, it has those feels you're looking for. It dives deep into all of the issues. There is a trash mom in that one, but for the most part, I think if you want those kind of single dad vibes, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
But it also is a lot of characters on
And
page,
there's
so you get that.
and it has a similar, like, a ton of characters on the page.
Family
There's
saga.
a lot of dirty talk.
So I figured out what
you know.
TV show this book reminds me of and the way her storytelling is. Do you remember Life in Pieces? It was on CBS and Tom Hanks.
show.
Or
It was
Colin
Colin
Hanks. Tom Hanks' son was in it. And
Yeah.
each couple kind of got spotlights each episode, but you kind of had to watch them all to get the continuation of everyone's story.
Yeah.
That's
a
how
really
the
good
writing
show. I
in
like
this
it.
book
Yep.
responds.
James
you like
Brolin's
that
character
show.
is so freaking funny.
Oh, he's a hoot. And
He's so damn funny.
the type A mom with the dad who's like, whatever.
He's like high or drunk 90% of the time.
Anyway, Lindsay.
Rip.
Lindsay,
I mean,
what book?
More on like the family structure of it being like in the hockey world. This book was really very hockey adjacent. Like hockey wasn't really much a part of it at all. But like if you want the big family hockey world, like not, and it's very like the family dynamic really reminded me of like Kelly Jamison, Natasha Madison,
For
Helena Hunting with like the found family aspect where they're just like really tight and you get that more small town vibe where they're in their own little bubble.
And everybody's
Because
related
of
to everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the family dynamic, like things are easier for them too. And
Yeah.
Well, and it's like they're all like related but not related. Like everybody's an uncle. So like when the kids who are not actually related get together, you're like, wait a second, aren't they related?
Yeah,
I was
You have
very
that, like, wait a
confused.
second, is this
Right?
taboo? Is this taboo or is this okay?
I have Temptation by Jenna Hartley. He owns the soccer team. What Happened at the Lake by Vi Keeland. It's an after sport, and it deals with her mental health issues, not the genetic issues.
I guess.
Walk of Shame by Avery Flynn, I think, is a better choice. Strictly for Now by Carrie Elks. That's part of her Salinger Brothers series. Her family owns the hockey team and he's the coach. Truly Madly Deeply by Erica Kelly. He owns a hockey team. And she is living on the property, but not the nanny.
Mhm.
and he's a single dad. Matching All the Way by Veronica Eden. Again, better character
Yeah.
development, but you got the coach and the little bit of the secret relationship, because this relationship in this book spent more time in secret than it did out loud.
Yeah.
And Risky Game by Stacey Kennedy. He's the coach of the football team, and she is his nanny, and kind of another trash mom. What is the newest? The newest in the Pittsburgh Titans is a single dad hockey.
Oh, what is that one?
He's a single dad. It's a nanny, and the mom is a trash. But it was, again, a quick read, but a slow burn. So you got a lot more character and emotional development. And I can't think of that. I want to say it's like Rafe, but I don't think that's right.
Foster?
Foster. Is that the very last one?
It's book
Oh.
13.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Foster. I think it's Foster's book.
Yeah, Foster just came out.
Yep, I think it's that book. Anyway, so that is everything and then some that we have to say about The Sweet Spot by Bella Matthews. Make sure you join us here on Sunday, where we are going to talk about lists. We're going to talk about the bestseller listings, and then
I was like,
also
lists? What kind of lists are we talking about?
Becky made lists, and now we're going to talk about all the lists
Is
Becky
this the
has.
list we want to be on? Like,
Sorry, I think you and I were the only ones that were actually having that text conversation.
Oh,
so
I think it
was the only one who
was.
knew what you were talking about.
It's like,
We're going to
what
talk
kind of lists?
bestseller list, but we also are going to deep dive into that Time magazine article, 50 romance books to read right now, because we have big thoughts on that list.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So,
I'll save my thoughts for Sunday.
I will have my big nerdy, here's how the bestseller list works moment. Like, poor Amanda now, and I guess Leah, if you're joining us, I basically like
You educate.
the
Yes.
list of all the things and noted all the sources and everything. Like,
Oh, your nerd is showing,
yeah,
Rebecca.
I like it.
poor
yeah, I
Amanda.
was
I'm like,
that's exciting.
I'm
like,
ready.
here, read this, and she's like,
I love it when the
Oh.
nerd comes out.
okay.
Good.
So, we're going to talk about it. So, if you've ever been curious about the bestseller list and how it works and why things happen, because we touched a little bit on bestseller last week when we talked about covers, about how these first run print editions are forcing USA Today bestsellers and New York Times bestsellers
Mhm.
instantly on release. So we talked about that a little bit. So we're going to kind of deep dive a little more into lists, because, I love a list.
We do.
Okay, so then we are back next Wednesday with our next Sip and Discuss, The Next Best Fling by Gabriela Gomez. And, okay, so I've been trying to waitlist. The audio is not in Hoopla, but right now Spotify has get 30 days for free. The audiobook is under 10 hours. So when you get Spotify, you get 10 hours of audiobook listens for free a month with a Spotify account. So currently they have 30 days for free. So if you want the audiobook for The Next Best Fling and you don't want to spend any cash or your Audible credit, sign yourself up for the 30-day free trial of Spotify Premium, and you can listen to the audiobook that way.
There you go.
Because I was debating, do I spend an Audible credit or do I do 30 minutes, or, do I do the 30 days?
Do I take the risk for the Audible credit?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm very excited about this. This is a librarian romance. Like,
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
how excited are you for this one, Jenny?
It depends on how it goes. There better, like, I don't want the banging in the stacks.
No,
Oh,
but you
there's
know what?
always banging in the stacks in libraries.
Okay, so this is really interesting to say, and then we'll be done, I promise. I feel like we've had better luck with the trad pub books that we've picked than we
Mhm.
have the indie books that we've picked.
So
Yeah.
we've had a lot of trad pub books the last few years that wound up being pretty good, and I have high hopes for this one because trad pub has been doing a really good job of picking up
Well, And I think we have 2 trad pubs in September. And we have another trad pub
Yeah.
this month, right?
We
Mhm.
have, we have when is the Simone Sultani and the Danica
That one's
Nava are both in September,
September,
Those are
right?
September.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do we have another one this month?
I can't
What
remember.
books are we doing this month?
I don't think we do.
Gabriella
anybody knows.
Gomez is this one, and then
I think that's the
Um,
only one.
is that the only one?
Don't. Well,
Well, no. Well, technically, Daphne's is because it's a Montlake.
It's a Montlake, so that's considered trad pub.
I wasn't thinking about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is her Montlake series.
That's right.
Anyway, okay. Join us back here Sunday night. We'll let you know all about my lists. Anyway, everyone, thank you for
everybody.
hanging out and joining me and talking about The Sweet Spot by Bella Matthews. Until next time, everybody.
Happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.